Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Welcome back to the Pangea Tourney 2v2 for the second and third round of match 15, Wonderbois and English Geezers. We've got a sofa full tonight, literally a sofa full. So we've got Amesy, McCaff, and Smiley with us. I'm sure a few of those names sound familiar, but I'll let them introduce themselves. First up, Amesy, welcome.
Yeah, hey everyone. So I am with K1 normally. We have had some good matches together in the tournament,
To,
and
to say the least.
yeah, exactly. Well, we've been doing all right, but yeah, it's been great to be involved in the tournament, and I'm happy to be co-casting today.
Perfect, good stuff. And McCaff, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing good, thank you. How about you?
Yeah, very well, thank you. Thank you for asking, indeed. Again, first time on for yourself. I don't think you're not in the tournament, are you? Is that right?
Yeah. Well, it's usually one. It's I guess I could be with if I'm on sub, but I haven't got any information yet. But yeah,
No
it's
problem. No problem.
probably
Well, look, it's always good to have someone that's not taking part in the tourney's opinion, right?
yeah.
It's always good to have that
Yeah.
impartial opinion is what I would call it.
Yeah, I guess I can call it. I mean, I'm normally impartial in my country as well. If you talk about that kind of stuff. But
Good
anyway,
stuff. Good stuff. Fantastic. And
just
then, last but not least, then we've got the wonderful Smiley. Smiley, I will let you introduce
Hello.
yourself. How are you?
Hello. Thank you for having me here, Stuart.
No, no problem. No problem at all.
Yeah, Smiley, my name. I played in the tournament with Mark Lenders. The last game that you guys casted, I think. Yeah. And yeah, we unfortunately dropped out, but yeah, you guys still having me here, and I'm happy to
No,
be
no
here.
problem at all. No problem at all. You definitely had a tough time the last game, Smiley. That's for
Oh
sure.
yeah.
So we definitely felt your pain. As I said to Sulla after the match, it was quite hard to cast that really
Yeah.
towards the end there. But look, hopefully better luck next time for the next tourney that you're going to go into, right? So.
I hope so. I hope so.
Yeah, well, you've certainly got a big fan base in the chat. Then we've got K1 Smiley, ex-pro player, now retiring and becoming a professional caster. Check that out, look, Smiley.
Wow, thank you.
Fantastic, good stuff. Well, look, without further ado, then we'll crack straight into this, shall we? So, look, you guys are gonna really sort of take control over this one, I think. Two players, both in the tourney itself. Amesy, obviously, you're still in the main bracket with K1 steaming through. Obviously, Smiley yourself being in the tourney yourself previously, and of course, McCaff yourself. Completely on the fence, shall we say? So let's get this show on the road then. And yeah, guys, I'll let you take it away.
my pleasure.
Yeah. So today we've got Key and Sulla. They're of the English Geezers team. And then on the other team, we've got Wonderbois, and that's made up of Bams and Christoph. So Bams is the higher elo player in red, and he's decided to go for Franks today. So Franks are typically known as like a cavalry civilization.
Very strong.
And they have cheap castles. So personally, I do actually like them as a as a pick for arena.
I think this
Although,
matchup for both Bams and Christoph are actually very solid. Especially, they have loads of options. Either Christoph can decide to maybe push in an early like Castle H with the hand cannoneers, which is maybe not optimal apart from the Turks, which Kai is sitting on at the moment, but they still have a solid late imp game where they can basically combine with both cavalry alongside with very powerful halberdiers and very powerful hoofnits as well. And so that's pretty much a very good, a solid match up for both teams, I have to say, in that regards. Although there is a
Yeah.
lot of things we can take into consideration. We have a very good start here.
So I know that Key, as a player, he loves to kind of go for specific strategies that he sees within the the community in Age of Empires, and so when he has gone for Turks, I think I've seen him play before, where he does like a fast imp and then
yeah.
gets out the bombard cannons, the janissaries, and it's a quick way to kind of break into someone's base and
He had a
destroy everything.
little problem with boar luring right there.
Yeah, it's a bit far away from the TC, isn't it?
Yeah, he has to. It takes about 3 seconds for him to force drop the food in that case, but he's somehow managing the flow to go through. He still have one villager recruiting now, so we are pretty. I think it's pretty solid for him.
Could we have look over it, see what Sulla's doing? Just pulling in his ball right now, and he's got. Oh yeah, he's just finished off that one there. So I mean, can anyone pick out any specific build orders at the moment, or is it just kind of standard stuff that you're seeing?
Which one do you refer to?
Oh, with any of the players. Currently, obviously, we're looking at Sulla.
Yasilla.
Or Smiley. Can you pick out anything in particular? Pushing in his
Arena.
gear right now.
Yeah. I mean, on Arena, you don't go for. Well, that's what I do. Not the normal build orders that you do with archers or with cavalry. Yeah, on Arena, it's a little bit different, I think. But I don't want to. Yeah.
Everyone. Well, I mean, we all know Smiley loves to boom, and so I'm sure that's what you're looking out for, right? But I mean, it does seem like everyone is doing well in terms of their villager numbers. You can see everyone's pretty much on 22, or they're just getting there. I mean, it just went up. But the top, I mean, there is a slight edge to green and blue. With their numbers, but yeah, I mean, we can see Key is now getting some farms down, which is interesting.
Yeah, and it's already 9 minutes in, basically. Oh, we see a little bit of blinking on Bam's and Kristoff's part. Oh, okay. It's they're both on the way up. Key and Sulla.
Yeah, they've both clicked up to feudal age. You can see up in the top left, there's their counters for going into feudal age.
Yeah, they timed it really well. It's 24 pop each, while it's slightly different for Kai and Sulla.
Yeah. Stuart, is it alright if we can switch through some of the fog of wars so we're able to see where they've scouted by clicking onto the players? So are people looking out for relics at all? Or are they trying to scout each other's base to see kind of what is on the edges of their base? Sometimes, people like to look out and see if there's like gold or stone on the edge, etc.
Got the first person up to feudal, Bams
That's
and Christoph.
yeah, a very solid build order by both Bams and Christoph in that particular way.
Are they trying to rush up at all, do you think?
Could be that time advantages is always welcome for some players, but the more prepared you are, the better. That's usually what I would say.
Yeah, I think there's actually slightly biased in terms of the relics you can see on the mini-map. 5 white dots. They're kind of more towards the red and yellow team, I would say. If we take a look back at that scout fight just back there, see what's going on. So it looks like they're trying to team up on Key to try and catch him off guard.
Yeah.
And you can see that Bams, he actually has
Yeah, that's
slightly
a
more...
little bit. Yeah, it was a little bit. Was a little bit late to that fight. At least from what I could see.
I was going to say, Bams, it looks like he's got slightly more of an idle eco with like 1.2%, whereas everyone else is kind of...
The loom by Christoph is pretty interesting. I wonder, is he going for stone or anything, or is he going to actually castle drop? Yeah, he's okay. Christoph is headed towards Kai to castle drop. He has a spear with him, and he's about to just hit it as soon as possible. And Sala is doing a turtle castle.
Here comes the castle drop.
Yep.
So I can imagine Christoph is trying to break down Key's walls. Prevent him from kind of rushing up to Imp, I think.
That's really risky right now to build castle with 4 villagers. Oh, yeah, okay, he's sending 3 more. But I think if you're doing a castle drop, I think 10 villagers would be better. I'm not sure.
I think actually the idea of Christoph's castle drop is to create as much turbulence to Kai as much as possible. But then again, if Kai manages, which he is right now, he's actually, if he can hold this castle push, I think he can actually create bombard towers straight away. I would personally wait with creating hand cannoneers, because the gold should always go to the right thing, basically.
McAvey, just jumping in there, I don't know if it's worth mentioning quickly. Sulla's just put on the chat, okay, done, ready, question mark. So I can only assume something's perhaps brewing in the background here. Key's obviously clicked up to imp as well, so a lot going on.
Yeah, it really is.
So the question is, can we see what troops Christoph is producing? Maybe in the castle? I don't know if he's... Oh no, sorry. He's making 2 spearmen at the moment, but nothing from the castle. Well, got 2 spearmen, sorry. Typically you would want to see some troops coming in to support when the gate is down, right?
Yeah, that is true. And now he's in a bit of a rush here. He tries to get up the wall in time. And I don't know if he's producing... He still has a flag on the castle, which I don't particularly know whether it's Hussite wagon or
It's one
Vitar's
spearman.
breakthrough. 1 spearman.
Yeah, I think he's garrisoned it. Yeah.
1 or 2.
Well, what's pretty crazy is that Sulla has got 4 TCs down and Key has just got 1.
Yeah. But Key is already imp, so
yeah,
he
exactly.
might trap down Christoph Castle. Maybe.
Yeah, I think he might be going for bombard cannons since Turks get the free chemistry upgrade.
And he's already on the clock then.
Yeah, you can see he's got the bombard cannon out from the siege workshop.
And resource-wise, if we take a look at Christoph's stone, it's gonna... I mean, sure, they're gonna basically repair the castle, but that means also that they're gonna have to force buy stone in order to get that castle alive, which in my opinion doesn't makes much sense. I would rather abandon the castle and just head back to the base and start creating additional units. Or Bams could create additional knights, which he is probably doing right now at the moment. So to say with it.
Do you think that if Bams would have supported Christoph, then maybe Christoph would have had a chance in breaking in a bit more before the bombards could really rain down on his castle?
It doesn't... In my opinion, it doesn't really matter because Kai is safely walled, so he still has the range for the bombard cannons to actually take down the castle. And you see, he's struggling with repairing with just 3 villagers, which is not enough because 2 or 3 cannonballs and that castle is gone, basically in no time.
Yeah, definitely. You can see Sulla is going crazy with his villagers.
Boom. Oh wow, yeah, that's a real farmstead.
Yeah, he's now up to 86 vills, so he's steaming ahead of everyone.
Maybe he's making an Aulas. We never know.
Yeah, that's one thing actually. What could Sicilians have in store? I mean, in terms of units, I mean, I know they've got the sergeants, and you know, they themselves can make donjons, but I can imagine that since we're starting to get into the later game, we're probably not going to be seeing that, and maybe something more gold heavy.
I think that the Sicilians are very reliant on their cavalry units, since they got a very good... they got an excellent civ bonus, plus an excellent imp tech that allows them to get the extra pierce armor and the armor as well. which makes them extremely tanky against any archer in the entire game. They also have the options for siege, which is very creative if they're going to make a push with the sergeants as well. But although their ranged units is a bit of a problem as well, since I mean, sure thing, the skirms could work in that particular matter, but they lack certain key upgrades for that part. And you can see here that Bams is going for the attack. He's fully aware of what's going on. He's trying to snipe the bombard cannons as much as possible. He already got one, which is very nice. But he's not really going all the way. If he managed to get it, he did
Yeah.
actually manage to get it, which is very nice.
Oh wow.
So now it's
Now
just the hand
Bams
cannoneers.
is focused there at Christoph's base, and now Zula is coming to take his chance to go to Bam's base. Okay, we can see now push from Team English Geezers.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean,
now-
they're
Is he
really.
gonna go for a dungeon rush, or what's the whole idea of this thing?
Yeah, I'm wondering that myself. It's quite surprising that he doesn't have any kind of siege to bring along, or you know, trebuchets or something, because he has
Yeah.
got a castle.
Yeah, he does. He does have a castle, yes, indeed. Oh, he's going for the dungeon. That's In terms of the dungeon, I mean, despite its full cost with 200 stone, apart from the generic tower, it does basically have something that are pretty underrated, in particular by the entire community as a whole. Because they can... Isn't it true that they're firing one shot each H?
And there comes the trap.
Yep.
Mm.
Is he
And you
trapping
can
down the
see-
gate with the trap?
Yeah, you can see Christoph is trying to counter the hand cannoneers with the skirmishers, since skirmishers are the counter to hand cannoneers.
And and I'm wondering if BAMs actually have the number required to actually break down the sergeants. But in terms of
Yeah, I
that,
don't-
I think he's. I think the chances of them being overrun is not quite well.
Well, I think that's a bad fight to be taking from BAMs.
Yeah, I think so too, basically. But they're only about to get upgraded. But I would strongly advise if he wants to keep his army alive, then retreating is the best option in order to. And we got some 5 additional knights coming through there as well. And he's starting to add up some pike units as well.
I really think that Sulla needs to be using those trebs whilst he's kind of in the fight.
Mm-hmm.
He hasn't got much use out of them apart from, you know, maybe taking a bit of health out of some of the buildings.
Now Bams is in a little bit of a pressure from that angle that he uses. The villagers of Sulla is preparing to build the fast castle. And he got 2 defensive castles, which is really good. But he's approaching with more sergeants into the mosh pit of buildings to create disturbance. Then you have the castles tearing them down as well.
By the way, one thing we probably forgot to mention is that this is actually the second match in the set. So the Wonderbois won the first match. That was an Arabia match. And now this pick, I believe, is from the English Geezers. Is that right, Stuart?
Might be right.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. You can see that Christoph is struggling to take down those bomber cannons, which he does. Although he's... he brought them forward, at least. It's a very good execution by Kai there. Sulla is going really aggressive on Bams here at the moment. Bams actually added some throwing axemen, which is really good, but I wonder if it's a little too late or not, basically. Because it requires a lot of upgrades too, doesn't it?
Well, I know throwing axemen are supposed to do well against infantry, although, I mean, the big struggle with Franks is that you can't build up the numbers well enough. You know, the castles just don't produce them quick enough, as opposed to other units.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. What do you think, Smiley? Can Bams hold while he's raiding too?
Well, it doesn't look really nice over there in Bam's base. If he's not getting help from Christoph soon, I think it might be.
Yeah, because
over.
Christoph is already under heavy pressure by Kai, basically.
That's true. We can see over there, Bams is trying to raid Key in his base with some knights.
I did see Christoph send some additional some additional reinforcements. I thought he did. And Bams is trying to drop down his third castle, which might be really interesting here. Because if he gets it, he can still provide a little bit more with it.
It's interesting that Sulla is making the push by, you know, putting down some donjons.
Massing them as well.
Yeah.
This is basically...
The donjons, they do produce sergeants, so, you know, it's just an endless mass, and the sergeants can build donjons, so I think Sulla knows what he's doing here.
We can see here that Christoph actually pushes, but where are the hand cannoneers? That's one major thing.
Yeah, that's true.
Of course, he invested so much in skirmishers to counter Kai, and I think there's a certain amount of desperation for taking back control of the game too, which I think is not fairly optimal at the moment. And the third castle is he's making this last attempt.
This one will. Can he do it?
If not, it's a doubt castle, and it is.
Well, Bams is down to 42 wills. Wow, Zula's boom is insane. He has so much food and gold.
And map control.
He just can spam those units, yeah.
Sulla has literally surrounded Bam's base by the dozen. And Kai is taking the upper hand. And they started to add in some siege rams as well. That's pretty much a little too late with the Hoofnits, I would say, because
He's trying to escape maybe with those bills. It
I
might
see
be too
that.
late.
Can he make it? Can the last line make it? Is the question.
He's still got 2 TCs, 1 in the back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
of course. Although he's maybe trying to be a little bit more discreet into it.
And you can see the villagers are starting to run from Bamps
Yeah.
to get over to Kristoff's space.
Oh, those bombard cannons are a very exclusive loss, so to say, with that. And
that's not really the ideal place for a town center.
I would say that as well. I think the best idea would have been if he just went straight into his base, which of course, because the rams can still penetrate through the wall, creating extra distraction. And now Kai is actually adding up some hussars, which is very, very well calculated by him. But he's actually making a castle go up right on the bat. But his bombard cannons are too many for it to actually be properly produced.
It looks like Sulla is the only one that has crazy resources sitting around.
Yeah, they're floating. Kai is definitely very food intense and gold intense at the moment, and so is Sola. Jesus, he gets it to go in no time.
So you got to be looking at this match, thinking, how can Kristoff ever think that he's going to be coming back?
He has been running out of gold, and he's already surrounded by Sulla and Kai, and that's the end of it.
GG's
That's a
called.
GG.
GG.
Wow.
Good game. Good game, Wonderbois, and good game, English Jesus. Well played.
Well played from both teams.
Yeah.
Was a good game.
Yeah, it was indeed a very good game.
Now it's a best of 3, right? We're going.
Exactly.
They won the last game. Christoph and Bams won the match. I think it was Arabia, right? Yeah. And this time, English Geezers and they two won, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Uh-oh.
So yeah, it was. I mean, maybe a bit of a landslide, I would say. I didn't really feel like Christoph and Bams ever really had much of a push. Christoph was, I mean, he got the castle down, but there was just nothing to back it up, and that just allowed Key to get those dangerous bombard cannons, and take down that castle, and yeah. So maybe Key and Scylla have the advantage for kind of closed maps, and the third round they have Master Wallalow deciding the map, and so in this in the next match we're going to be seeing just 1 second, let me find. So the next map is actually Michi, decided by Master Wallalow.
Ooh, Michi. What a booming map.
Yeah, exactly. So
Wow.
maybe Sulla and Key have the advantage, since Sulla definitely did very well there. But
Yeah.
Stuart, are we going to be taking a break or are we going straight through?
I think we can give it 30 seconds, guys, just to get everything behind the scenes reset up. So yeah, bear with us. We will be right back.
Right.
in action. Here we go then. So, what interesting break music that was. I hope you guys enjoyed it.
Yeah, I love the Gladiator theme tune, and it's one of my personal favourites. So
Was that your request, Amesy? Was it?
yeah,
Oh,
I love that kind of thing.
Fantastic.
It's a great film.
Good
If you haven't seen it, you have to check it out.
Oh, for sure, 100%. Yeah, definitely. Good stuff. Okay, all right. So, look, we had someone in the chat just talking about hearing us twice. If you guys could let us know that, just let us know again if the sound's all good. So obviously we can jump on that and get that sorted straight away. Everything should be good. All looks good our side. But again, just let us know. So all good in the hood.
AMC, you're watching. Should I watch Twitch or
Through Discord?
Through Discord. Okay.
Cool. Okay, good stuff. So I'm quite excited about this round 3. Do you know why?
It's
Why's
even.
that?
Because it's on Michi.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, anything can happen, and we have a lot of interesting Civ matchups, and so we got the Goths and the Italians as the English Jesus, and then we have the Spanish and the Mongols as the Wonderbois. So this is going to be a perfect, an interesting game.
Perfect matchup
overall.
Good stuff. Well, look, I'm going to get it started, guys. Obviously, as you know, Dark Ages can be a slow little burn, especially on this map. So look, we'll get it cracking, and you guys can narrate the way. Good stuff. Let's
Yeah, sounds great.
Let's go. Good luck.
Well, just to let everyone know that Smiley actually had to drop out since she has work. So work tomorrow morning. Sorry. So yeah, you'll be lucky enough to have me and McKeff and Stuart obviously controlling the camera and giving us his 2 cents. So Bamps is gone for Mongols. Typically they're kind of cavalry archer civ, and they have very good light cavalry. So I mean, it's kind of like speedy. They I don't know if they're considering maybe a rush tool, and he's partnered up with the Spanish, so they have conquistadors. But I can imagine that since Michi is usually like a booming kind of map, then he's probably going to be going for the paladins.
I mean, both civs have excellent cavalry in particular.
Yeah.
Very versatile, and not to even mention their monks and gunpowder units is in particularly fast fire rate, and they can instantaneously pull out some good and nasty monk strats with the help of the Inquisition tech. If anyone of you don't know what it is, then it's actually technology that is available for the Spanish and Castle Age that basically makes your monks convert units faster. And in particular, pairing it up with Conquistador, they are a deadly force to be reckoned with.
For sure.
Along with that.
If we move over to Sulla, he's playing as Goths. Now, we all know that Goths are a civ where you're expecting to kind of get up to imp and then mass out the infantry, like go crazy. They're
a very offense heavily civ to be.
Yeah, exactly. So they only get the palisade walls, so you're not going to be seeing stone walls from red. And they have a tech which means that their barracks produces insanely fast. So
100%.
And when you combine that with their other tech, which means that they mass out Huskars
at the barracks.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
that can be very devastating if the opponents are not aware of what can actually be going on in that kind of sense that way.
Yep.
But then again, things can turn. Things can also turn really ugly for them if they face Civ with better and stronger infantries and champions in particular. Because I see that most of the time it's more about quantity than it is about quality, in regards to the Goths perspective. And not to say the very least, the Condotieros is a very great unit, especially against the Spanish in particular.
Yeah.
Because they can easily outnumber gunpowders, and if they're being heavily engaged by paladins or camels, the Genoese crossbowmen can basically melt anything that is mounted.
Yeah, Stuart, if we move over to Key, he's Italians. So they get the condottieri, which are amazing at taking out cavalry, even though they are archers. So it's something that
Genoese
you know.
crossbowmen, I think you mean.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, the condottieri are the infantry units. But the Genoese crossbowmen, yeah, so very good against cavalry, which people that are new to the game, when they're thinking about archers, then they would typically think, well, knights are exactly what I want to be able to take out those archers. But actually, when it comes to Genoese crossbowmen, then that's what you don't want.
Yeah. But the cons about those Genoese crossbowmen is that they have to be produced mainly by the castle, and that they are less efficient against other archers that might have slighter bonuses or better damage outputs in particular, to be fair. So that's the only thing I can mention about it, basically, when it comes to their part.
So you can see that Christoph and Bamps, they've both clicked up to feudal, and Key, and literally just now Sulla.
Because there's one thing that I'm wondering, because I recognize this kind of strat with the Italians and the Goths that they can push on Michi, because looking at the score, well, it's typically Dark Age, but looking at the score, this could actually end in two ways. The first way is that they either boom and go straight into the usual Imperial Age, or that Sulla is actually preparing for an Imperial Age while Kai is actually slinging. And he goes full on Condotieros.
Ah, now I see.
That can be a deadly surprise for Bams and Christoph if they're not aware of it. Because believe it or not, Mongols and Spanish are a very good late game civ. They're actually one of the best ever, but they're not gonna be able to stop the Gothic Condottiero push in time if they're not fully aware of it. And the best thing about it is that it works. You don't even need anything that is countering to buildings. They can just ram those buildings by just running underneath them.
Yeah, so now that you mention it, it actually makes complete sense. The Goths and Italians, they have a strategy where, if the Italians sling the Goths player loads of resources, the Italians, they can kind of stay in feudal age just slinging, and then Sulla is gonna boom up, get to imp, and since the Italians, they have something which means the other teams that they're allied with can get condottieri in Imperial Age, and that means that the Goths player, since they have the barracks techs to be able to mass produce infantry, etc., then you see all of a sudden there's a massive condottieri bunch of guys at your door, essentially. So I can imagine they're trying to play the kind of quick game, even though it is
because
Michi.
as you can see, Kai stays in feudal age, so this could
Yeah,
be very
exactly.
interesting. And he's waiting for the opportunity to actually sling additional resources to Sulla. You can see that he's going intensively on the gold, and meanwhile he's already sending. Sulla actually sold some additional food in order to click up to Imperial Age. And we're gonna see now what's gonna happen. Oh, you can see they're actually doing it. They're actually doing it, MC. Can you believe it?
Yeah, I think Key was actually the first person to actually bring this strat to my attention. It's definitely one which is very difficult to beat. I know that I have personally used it on Black Forest, where it is typically thought of as a kind of closed-off map. But then it surprises everyone when you're at their doorstep, knocking everything down. So, you know, it's crazy.
It is true, generally. So you can see that he's on his way now to Imperial Age. 3 minutes in, and they haven't.
You can,
they literally
you can see
got
that
only 1 TC each.
Yeah, and that's because they're trying to rush in to get in as quickly as possible.
Yes.
Whereas you can see that Christoph and Bams, they're going for the boom. They've got the 4 TCs down. If you could switch over to those, Stuart.
The dangerous thing now is that they can eventually panic if they don't, if they see what's going on. Then they literally have to take action almost straight away. It's not later, it's as soon as possible, and it has to go really swift, basically. Because that push is going to be very devastating if he manages to wrap around 40 condotieros at once, basically, from fast-producing stables. And meanwhile, while Kai is actually managing up his resources and slinging as much as he possibly can. 30 seconds in until Imperial Age, and he's now preparing additional onagers and additional barracks, which is a huge step forward.
Yeah, so it must be soon enough that he's thinking of taking the trees down. And you can see that green Christoph, I think he might actually be suspecting it a bit. I think he started to put outposts on his wood line, and you know,
but outpost is not gonna save the game.
No, not at all.
Times. It might well give you a nice line of sight, but meanwhile, it's gonna be very hard for them to if they don't act quickly with the production buildings and such.
Yeah, it will be interesting though on Michi, since you know, is it possible that the English geezers, they could struggle to kind of get through in time, since Michi is not typically. Well, I mean, it takes time to get through, doesn't it? So
it was. I mean, it would take much longer if they only had one onager to cut. That's generally what it is. And he still has time to mass up condotieros in one go. And this is gonna go really fast. I get the feeling that because he uses the one first onager to actually cut through the first layer of trees, and then the second one to pull the next, and then the third. And until then, they will actually go for it swiftly as
So
possible.
you can see that Green has actually signaled
Mhm.
to say that he's already seen they're trying to break through.
And now he's desperately trying to buy some stone in order to
Yeah, that's right.
get the castle going as fast as possible.
hmm
And he
So
already gets it.
can we actually take a look at the fog of war for Christoph? See how much of it that he sees? Yeah, so he can see they're coming
Clearly
in, but
he
he
can
doesn't know
see, yeah.
what troops are coming in yet. Oh, I
Oh.
mean, he could probably take a guess.
Well, I guess might not be an Huskarl, but then again, the fewer times you're playing against a specific civ, you know, the more times you're gonna be like surprised when you actually kind of see them.
Mm.
And you can see here that he actually approaches with Storm towards the green base.
Yeah.
He prepared the defensive castle in time, which is really good. But the danger here is that if he creates a small gap on the far right, next to the wood line, he can just go in and split the condottiers in two and just run from all kinds of different directions. We can also see that Christoph is adding additional knights as well, and his villagers are actually struggling to get the wall up going, but they are also getting mauled down
Yeah,
by the
you
second
can see
wave.
they're panicking.
Yep,
Banned
that's
from Christoph.
for sure. And conquistadors are not going to be a viable option against the condotieros, since they have +9 resistant damage against gunpowder units, plus additional 9 damage against the condos. And as we can see here, we got some knights from the Mongols as well. We can see how that goes. They're retreating backwards to the castle where they feel safe.
You can see everyone's going crazy with the market,
Yep, indeed.
and the troops are just streaming in.
And Sulla goes crazy with the barracks. A true legend.
I mean, it's possible
Yeah,
that maybe he should. Is he bringing Vils down through the trees?
he should be able to. If I were him, I would actually add loads of barracks
Yeah,
at the
exactly.
moment,
That's what I was thinking.
because in the bottom you see he actually has a place for approximately, I would say it's around 2,000 or maybe 200 barracks at the same time. If he decides to drop it, that's then it's a good sign, at least for the very good. Because that's generally the only thing he can do right now. Just spam and hope for the win.
Yeah, definitely. Because I mean, if he left them to build any more, then you know they would just be building up the villagers. You can see the villager counts. So green and yellow, they're both in the 70s, whereas red and blue, they're like 50. So they need to be taking everything down in their bases.
As swiftly as possible, yes,
Yeah.
that's true. And as you could see there, Sulla actually added in some pikemen into the mix because he knows that condos, despite the numbers, cannot sustain against the knights in particular. I wouldn't say that the cavalry are in particular very strong as raiding units, but if you're compensating against more powerful cavalry civs, then that's a bit of a big trouble for them. Well, apart that they get the heavy camel, basically.
You can see that he's taken out the TC now.
Yep. And he's adding more numbers.
Yeah, and the castle's down as a defense for building the barracks as well. So
I see that Sola is floating a lot of wood as well. So he had to, you know, sell it as much as he possibly can. If I were him, I would basically just spam barracks all around the castles and basically just go to town, basically. And you can see here that Kaya is still adding up some more TCs, and he's literally just booming, basically, and slings and do all that sort of
Yeah.
stuff.
can we see how Christoph is reacting? So he's got Trebuchet to take out the castle, and then he's planning on going conks. Which, I mean, yeah, that is a good unit to go for, since they're typically good against
And they're mobile.
infantry. Yeah.
Yeah, but against Condotieros,
Yeah.
it's not gonna go really pretty, to be fair. And you
Yeah.
can see that he's adding up his own trebuchets to actually execute the Treb War as much as possible. Economy-wise, it's not looking very pretty, and Christoph is actually floating loads of gold. He could actually use them to create even more knights, or maybe sell some of them to BAMs to actually make it.
So you can see that Bams is really, you know, struggling to keep Vils on the farms.
To keep up with the eco in as
Yeah.
a whole.
Although, I mean, Sulla is still on 46 Vils, so is it possible that, I don't know, if Christoph and Bams, they hold out, then maybe they could be bringing it back?
Could happen, but the thing is that it came actually too unexpected, and you know, you're not really fully aware when you don't necessarily know the strat. If you're gonna know it for the first time, then it's generally going to be very hard to even notice it in the first place. But a player who has played Michi a lot knows that this is the typical thing that most of the people go for. Like an example, Khmer is one of the only civs that can actually cut through trees as a ballista in Castle Age. So with that being said, they do actually pull the strat much more aggressive in comparison to the Goths. But it is a very good. It is a very good strat.
Yeah, I would say that all this time that Sulla has spent trying to chase down the conks, I mean, it's not a really good idea, since you want to be hitting the economy. You know, if you're chasing conks, then you're just wasting time, since you're never going to catch them. Look at all the open space they've got there. So
yeah, and you can see that Bam's Vils are actually running away right now from.
yeah,
They're struggling to get away, and he's adding up markets too.
Yeah, that's interesting.
It's very interesting, yeah.
I mean, do they really think that they can set up a trade route when they've got so much enemy in their base?
He has numbers when it comes to his knights, but I feel like at this point I don't see any reason why. But what they could do essentially is to maybe add in what Christoph should maybe do instead is to add up his own champions. Because either way, his champions are more powerful than the Gothic pikemen and condotieros, since they have since the Goths lack the last armor upgrades, they're more considered a quantity over quality civ in particular.
Yeah.
So that's what I think would have been a better choice rather than just adding up a few of those conquistadors.
Yeah, although, I mean, I've seen it before where there isn't much point fighting Goths with infantry, since in Imperial Age, then Goths get infantry 35% cheaper.
Yeah.
So, you know, they can just completely swamp you, even if you have something to fight the spam.
You might have been fully aware of too that Kai is he's actually on his way to join the game as well.
Yeah, I mean, obviously he's been doing the slinging, so
And now he has the incredible tech that we all spoke about earlier. And you can guess what it is. Perfusion.
so what do you think Kai is bringing the Vils over for?
Yeah, they're
We saw.
basically they're bringing them up to actually get the siege workshop up, but the question is what they are going to use. What is it going to use that for? Is it for Imperial Age? Is it for anything else? Because and you can see that. Go ahead. Sorry.
Well, yeah, Bams is just he hasn't even managed to get to Imperial Age, so it's a bit of a struggle here.
He's struggling with food. He's struggling with. I mean, he has some gold too, but now he's starting to get a little bit in trouble. He has no one on woods. He has no one on food. So I would generally say that Kristoff is basically on his own now fighting.
Yeah.
And Kai is actually starting to join the game too as well, adding up a castle to him to aid Sulla, which is a very, very good execution by them both. So what do you think? Can the Genoese crossbowmen defeat the mighty conquistadors?
I think they're gonna have to.
Either way, Sulla is adding up the ranks, and
I don't think that Kristoff can pull this off.
I don't think so either, I'm afraid. Because you can see he's losing numbers to the condotieros. And you can see the castle is going up. He has a castle, he has set it up a very nice perimeter with one castle on the far left and two castles that are on the defensively. Looking at Bams, his eco is in shatter, so
I'd like to give a quick shout out to Rev, who's currently in hospital. Get well soon, buddy. I'm sure you'll enjoy to hear that you've got the shout out, so you're now famous, right?
Feel better, Rep. That's the best thing we can say. I wonder if Kai is about to drop a second castle. It could be something going on. He's trying to keep the distance off the traps as well.
So is Bams trying to build a castle? No, he's well. There's a TC that he's trying to build right at the back, but I mean, it's going to be a struggle, isn't it?
I would say that, and you got some trade cards going
Yeah.
right on top of it.
Look at that.
We have a new hero walking around
Yeah.
here.
The ox is coming to save the day. Or...
Yeah, save the day to the mighty Spaniards.
Yeah.
I've actually heard throughout history that assassins was actually carried through trade cards.
Oh wow.
So it could be some...
Yeah, they're going for
Could
the
be some
sneaky
imagination.
tactics.
A little bit like that, yeah. And you can see he's adding up a few numbers of bombard cannons, plus Kai is actually mainly focusing on creating battering rams, which is a really good strategy for distractions to keep the conks disorganized. And you can see that the second castle is actually being mauled down, and you got one actually, he's creating one more castle on the further back. And then another mighty ox cart. We got some conks reinforcements coming through. Try to snipe off the bombard cannons. They try to go through the destroyed wall, but they're being chased down by additional condotieros and helps. And you can see that he has loads of bombard cannons coming through the way, which I believe is what Kristoff would be chasing down in the first place. He's heading towards the castle further in the back.
I do think that Kristoff has been floating quite a bit of wood and food, even though, you know, he's had all this army come over to him.
He would have been better off selling the food, basically every food he has to BAMS so that he could, but I don't know if it's worth it or not, but...
Could we head over to Bamps and see how he's doing?
We could do that, absolutely. He's getting slightly back to the game, actually. Oh, there's a red house going there as well. He's starting to add up some manga dice, which is really good, but since the severe damage is already being caused and green is under constant pressure, he's gonna have to add it up as soon as possible. And I don't think necessarily that 12 manga dice against 42 condottiers and 43 halberdiers is going to do the job properly.
One thing that I think is absolutely crazy, so Sulla is actually still only on 1 TC, has 53 vills, whereas Key has 161 vills. Now, don't you want to be deleting some of those vills to get more space for military?
His sole purpose is actually to sling as much as he possibly can, and he's doing pretty fine in his Castle Age spot with the battering rams, which is, in my opinion, very underrated. Because so many people actually prefer the siege ram and the battering and the kept ram, but actually, if you mass up an entire army of those Castle Age battering rams, you can actually pull out a very decent execution, if necessary, to be fair.
Sulla's got so much wood.
And BAMS lost actually additional manga dice on its way. But he has... No, it's Kristoff's wall. They have already sealed off the gap in between Bams and Christoph. So
Mhm.
they're in a bit of a stalemate now between. Which makes it really easy for Sulla and Kai to actually pick their targets wisely.
Yeah, just keep on spreading through the enemy's base.
As much as possible, yeah. And what was that petard, actually? That was pretty interesting.
And the GG's called.
Very good play, Wonderbois, and excellent play, English Jesus, for the second win, and a very, very solid strategy, in my opinion.
Yeah. I think it's actually a bit of a broken strategy. I don't know whether the devs think the same, but I mean, it was very good to watch, and of course, see that strategy be pulled off
Mm.
with no major comeback, I would say.
What I would have loved to see too is actually what they could have done was to maybe, I mean, it makes sense if you haven't actually been through this kind of strat. These kind of opponents before, but if you really want to be at your very best defensively against a push like this, you should always consider that the Italians might pull some kind of different strategy, hence to the condottiero, because there's no such thing like economic bonuses or anything that the Italians have to offer apart from their fishing ships, etc. Plus, the Goths, they exist for a reason, basically, to just spam the infantries all over the place, but what you can do in that situation is to prepare miraculously earlier in the process. So that being said.
So we do actually have a special guest who's come to join us, Sulla.
Sulla!
Welcome to the chat and the Discord. And of course, now, well, you're famous from all of your co-casting with Stuart, but how did you find that game?
Thanks for casting the game, guys. I appreciate it. Yeah. I mean, it was a really good series. Every game went on for a while, so I think it was kind of nice to view it back. And I think we got really lucky with that third map with Michi, because as you can see from the first game, if you guys watched it, we were definitely at a disadvantage on open maps, and that's why Kai did all those stupid strategies in the first game. But actually, we kind of knew that maybe our game knowledge was maybe a little bit better than the other team, despite them having generally like better macro and micro. So we went for the crazy strat in the third game. And the reason we went for arena in the second game is because I think we both like closed maps, and yeah, it just worked out for us. I think we got a bit lucky with the map. I mean, nobody would really prepare a plan for Michi, but Kai suggested the Goth Italian strategy. I was pretty skeptical. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't want to do it, but
I did actually. I have to admit with you, Sulla, I was actually expecting you guys to go through for that strat. I mean, I talked to MZ about what the Italians could do and what the Goths could actually do, but when combining them together, it actually hit my mind that it would actually be inevitable to use that strategy to pull out immediately, because we saw the confusion right afterwards that it was pretty much a desperate situation that had to be pulled off almost immediately, as soon as possible, by Christoph and Bams at the same time.
Yeah.
But that's what I talked to. That's what I talked to MC about very right after the game actually finished. Was that if you want to be prepared an extra time earlier, you always want to make sure that you actually have units prepared and basically know everything what the Gothic and Italian players are going to do. Would you say that is the correct mindset?
Yeah, I agree, and maybe if they knew about the strategy, they might have prepared something in advance. All I would say though is that it's always a risk to prepare a defense on Michi, because if the attack never comes, then you've kind of wasted a load of eco that you
Wasted a
could
lot
have
of
put
eco.
into like economy and villages onto military that you don't need, and then you're at a disadvantage already. So. And the thing is because the wood line on Michi is so long, you don't actually know what's going on. Now, I think we got a bit lucky that they didn't know about the strategy, and we definitely got lucky that we kind of took them unawares. But we got. I think the two civs that they had, they didn't have like an infantry civ to kind of get champion very quickly, and that would have been the best unit to deal with what we had. Unfortunately, Mangadai and Conks are kind of countered by things that Goths and Italians have. So I think we got really, really lucky on that last map.
Well, yeah, I mean, they couldn't prepare their civ to go against yours since they didn't know what you were going for. So, that's one thing about tournaments is, you can't see the other person's civ, so you don't know kind of what they might be planning. And with Michi, it could be anything.
Yeah, no, it's a fair point, but I guess you kind of just assume that they're going for the really late game civs, right? And I guess Spanish with the trade bonus and Mongols just have a great late game, so it wasn't like beyond the pale that we would see them. And I think infantry civs tend to be quite rare. Like I haven't seen many played in this tournament, for example. So yeah, I think it worked out really well against the civs that they played.
And Sulla, do you think you might be able to get through completely out of the losers bracket and into the final?
Well, I think me and Kai know deep down that open maps are not our strength. And I think whoever we play against are going to use that against us. I think we're not expecting great results on Arabia or any other open map, but I think we always got a kind of strategy in the back of our pocket for a closed map. So I'm going to be hopeful and just take every game as it comes, and hopefully we'll get a bit lucky again.
Do you guys usually follow the meta?
No.
Not a lot.
No. I think I'd say my elo is decent. It's not amazing though. But I usually win by kind of having either playing closed maps, which I feel like I'm a bit better at, or by just doing kind of wacky strategies that people don't expect. So like on Arena, you go for the first Crusade thing, and then on the third game we went for the Goths Italian thing, and I think that's our biggest strength. And if we're going to get anywhere in this tournament, we just got to keep doing wacky stuff like that.
All right.
So are you planning on practicing and training in private, or is it just see how it goes kind of thing?
I'm not gonna lie to you guys. We literally pulled that out the bag like 5 seconds after we knew we got that map. So I know Kai's got he's got kids and he's got a job and I've got a job. So I'm not gonna say we're gonna put loads of practice in, but I think we got to start taking this tournament maybe a little bit more seriously.
Yeah, that's right. Because you're pushing yourself up there, and the competition is only going to get bigger and better, right?
Yeah, definitely. I just looked at who we could play next, Gods of War and Oni-chan, and both of which teams I definitely wouldn't want to play. So if whoever we face, we need to step up our game, that's for sure.
Yeah, and you will.
Stuart, did you have any questions in particular for Sulla?
Oh, I think you covered them very well, MZ.
Oh, thank you very much.
I think you covered them very well. Yeah, all good. Good stuff.
Yeah. And so it's great to be with everyone today, casting these matches, and over to you to end off, Stuart.
Yeah, no worries, that's fine. Good stuff. Well, it's pleasure having you all on the sofa. Definitely, that's for sure. Obviously, games on again tomorrow night. I'm pretty sure tomorrow night is actually the Albanian fishermen versus the Cheadle brothers, so that'll be a good one. I'll obviously be sitting out, so I'd like to think you'll all be cheering me on in the background there, if it's going to be live casted, that is, of course. But yeah, please do stay following, stay up to date. Obviously, join the Discord channel if you want to get involved with the Hermetica channel. with the Hermetica clan, sorry, and obviously future tournaments that might arise again. But yeah, we'll leave it there for now. English Geezers 2, Wonderbois 1. English Geezers go through. Who do they face? Find out next time. Cheers, guys.